Now, seriously, y'all should have led with season two. Season two was cooking. Season one is still traumatizing. Get it, don't be timid when you in it, love upon it, give along, lead it. I don't want no trip, baby, say like My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? We are back to talk Euphoria, because I just finished season two. Season three will air Sunday, April 12th, 2026. And now I am fully sat and prepared. But I have thoughts and I need to get them off my chest. All right. Again, season two for me is far superior than season one. I think season one led with the shock value. And while I think we got the information that we needed, to me, season two was so much more impactful. I think I sit and I kind of wonder, would it have been as impactful without that season one? I don't know. That painted a really clear and raw picture, but I feel like there was a ton of things that were just gratuitous, right? In season one. In season two, I felt like everything made sense. I feel like every story that was told made sense, was impactful, and went forward to, telling this cohesive story, right? And so I guess we'll just start about what Euphoria is and, the Sam Levinson of it all. And then I want to talk about each of these characters and their arcs over the first two seasons. I have all of the questions around season three and what we can anticipate. And I think I will just go ahead and add those. Well, let's just talk about it now, right? I have questions. One, are they going to sell Rue on the black market? Because you still owe that lady money, right? And at the end of season two, Rue specifically says, I was clean for the rest of the school year because I had to be. What happened after that, Rue? Because I need you off the stuff, baby, because Rue is never anywhere that she needs to be. Rue is everywhere except where she needs to be. And so I need to know that. I want to know what they're going to do with Fesco. Baby, they didn't took out Ashtray, Jesus. Down, down, down. Cal is in jail where he needs to be. Or is he? Does he stay? You know what I mean? Nate, is he still going to be a diabolical maniac? Are Jules and Rue over forever? What's Elliot going to be? What is he going to turn into? I don't know. Lori is going to get Rue, and now there's no buffer because we already know, Fesco got shot. But now with what happened with Angus Cloud in real life, where do we go from here? The finale stressed me out, but it was so well done in season two, y'all. It was so good. The play was, listen, a revelation. Lexi did her biggest one. I don't know how we recover the aftermath of all of this, the fight with Maddie and Cassie. Do they ever become friends again? I mean, it was an uneasy piece in the bathroom, but it didn't give we're back to besties again. Anyway, let's get into these characters and their arc because, it was a lot going on. Let's start with Maddie over here. We know that Maddie has been on again, off again with that lunatic Nate, his abusive, psychotic ass. And now, by the end of season two, she's free from that man. And now Cassie has the burden to bear. We find out that Cassie screws Nate on New Year's while Maddie and he are on a break. But Maddie has been her best friend since day one. And so going over there with Nate, a man who used to talk about her bad, and who has always been in love with Maddie and who basically keeps Cassie a secret as long as he can. We already knew that this was going to be just a devastation, right? But yet here we are with that. Maddie has big plans for the future. We see that her employer, it's played by Minka Kelly, Samantha, she loves Samantha's life. We know that Maddie, a big part of her personality, was not wanting to be someone that serves. Her goal in life was to be the wife on Casino. That's been her goal. She wanted to be a kept woman in her gaudy attire and living her best life. And who was better to do that with Nate? They had such an intense trauma bond. He was abusive. He choked her out at one point, and yet she kept going back. They didn't frame poor Tyler and got him locked up in the Pinta after getting the brakes beat off of him. Because she wants to go dip and dot, and Nate, in his weird fantasies, wants to unalive anybody who comes inside of her orbit. It's ridiculous and crazy. And I hope that we are off the roller coaster. I hope that she takes these big plans and goes and pursues a full life. I loved Maddie down eventually, but it did take me a while to warm up for her. I got her right because it seemingly she has it right. She's got it. You got it, girl. She's that girl. The confidence overwhelming, like Lexi said in the play. But a deep part was missing with all of these kids. That's kind of like the common thread. Something's missing. Each of these babies are seeking fulfillment in one way or the other. They're seeking validation in one way or the other. They're trying to medicate and really satiate a lot of these needs, I guess, that have never been satisfied, either by their parents or whatever the situations were. But I enjoy Maddie and I'm here for her arc and I want to know what's going to happen with her. Cassie, by the end of season 2, is a broken down wretch. She is crying, makeup running. She has stormed the stage, honey. She wants to fight Lexi. She want to fight the actress who's playing her because, it's been so hard living in her shadow. Right, Lexi, because I'm just the big bad, but I'm really the victim. Right. Cassie is perpetually in a state of victimhood. Right. No one's journey or burden is worse than hers. She can't take ownership or accountability of the fact that you did wrong. That was your best friend, whether they were on a break or not. That just violates girl code. You can't go back on her sloppy seconds, Mookie. Especially, and this wasn't a one night stand for Maddie. This has been her ongoing man for years and years and years and all the things, and so not really wanting to take accountability for that, but really, like they say in the play that Lexi so eloquently portrays, she basically is like, I think the greatest thing I can do is love somebody and finally get some love in return. Of course, we find out that she and Lexi's dad kind of succumbed to drug addiction and is out there right now being an addict and kind of chosen drugs over his family. And the way that these two sisters in this same household handle it are completely different. Cassie is seeking outside validation from any person that can give it. And Nate is fulfilling whatever that toxic need is, not just the need for love, because that's normal, but this kind of possession thing that he's got going on. Like, I want to possess you. Like, I want to be in every part of you, whether it's abusive or not. She's going to go for it because it's better than nothing, in her opinion. And I hate that for Cassie. Sydney Sweeney is a choice in general, but I think all of these kids do a great job in acting in these roles. I think in season 2, especially, they completely delivered. I want Nate under the jail. I will say season 2 satisfied me because I got to see Fesco beat the brakes off of him. And that's all I wanted watching season 1. I said, if somebody doesn't tackle Nate's ass and beat the brakes off of him, and it can't be his daddy, it's got to be somebody external that he's hurt or threatened or done something. So we know that Nate has been outside of his weird obsession with Peen because of being introduced to his dad's sex tapes very, very early on. He has been abusive in and out of relationships, not really knowing who he is, what he wants, how he wants to get to that point. He's been living in a state of perpetual denial, obsessed with Peen because I must like it. In season 2, we find out that he's been having nightmares about his father doing things to him. So I question, did that really happen or not? I don't know. I don't know if it was just a dream, damn it. I don't. But basically, he's kind of going through this evolution. Now, is Nate a different person than he was when we met him season 1, episode 1? Yes. But is he good? No. Like he says in season 2, when he brings that disc to Jules and she's like, are you a good person now? He's like, hell no. You won't even know what I know to get it. You don't even want to know what I did to get this tape back. But I'm making strides, right? And so I think a big part of this and what's freeing is the fact that he does turn his dad in, that he does give the sex tape back to Jules. Like you said, it was a terrible way he did it, acting like he was gonna blow his, out in front of Maddie to get the tape back.
But ultimately, he did the right thing by giving it back to Jules, and he did the right thing by turning in his wretched father. Now, is that going to handle his aggression issues? Absolutely not. He needs deep, intensive, inpatient therapy, in my opinion. If you're a therapist, drop it below. What would be his treatment plan? Because Nate needs it. Now, again, he's been in love with Maddie all this time, but having dalliances with anybody and everybody he could. We know he tried Jules. And now being with Cassie, this is just kind of fill in the blanks. And I think in season 2, he's even questioning, maybe it's Cassie that I needed the whole time. She really is the one that doesn't give me any pushback. She doesn't give me any lip. She sits here and she takes it. That's a better fit. His mom even says, listen, I think that's a better fit for you anyway. That Maddie was going to get you in trouble. We already know they got into the domestic dispute and he almost went to jail and had to frame somebody behind it. But will there always be this tinge for Maddie? I think so. He's still very much about appearances. He very much is still living in a closet, just like his father. As much as he doesn't want to be his father, he is absolutely every bit of his father. I'm hoping for more of an evolution in season 3, but I don't have it to do with Nate. Just because you do one nice thing doesn't make you a good person. Jules, to me, in season 2, is the real MVP. And I don't give a damn Rue. I don't give a single damn Rue. Now, was she wrong for hooking up with little cutie Elliot? Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, you were wrong for hooking up with that boy. Yeah. Yeah, you was wrong. You was wrong for that. However, you were not wrong for going to Rue's mama. I said that is the biggest display and act of friendship and love that anyone has done on this show so far, in my opinion. Because it wasn't in malice, it wasn't out of spite, it wasn't because Rue, you hurt me and you lied to me. It was because I want you to live, Rue. And the sad part is though, you can't make somebody want it more than they want it for themselves. Like Ali says throughout the show, being Coleman Domingo, who plays Rue's sponsor, Ali Muhammad. Nobody can want this for you, baby. Nobody can want that for you. I really enjoyed the growth in Jules' character. We meet her season 1 as she is going through all of the motions. She is engaging in super risky behavior. She gets a reality check. She begins to settle into this friend group, and we get to see more of herself come out, right? Not just her behaviors or the things that she's doing, but really who she is. Trying to connect with Rue, all the while being blind to Rue's, issues. But now that Elliot's introduced, I liked that we got to see a little bit of jealousy on her part because where are you with my girl? And then ultimately saying it, no, Elliot's a cool guy. I like him. And what is this dynamic? Let's explore that, but not at the expense of Rue. Finally, Elliot tells her, listen, Rue has been doing everything. Fenty, she's been doing that hair on, she's been doing anything she can, popping pills, opiates, all that, because I've been doing it with her. She goes and tells the mama. She does everything in her power, and Rue cusses her clean out. It's always only ever been about you, Jules. You just like to be loved. You don't love me. You don't want me. I hate you. I never want to see you again. I hate your stinking guts. And still, after that, at the play, Jules is like, I love you. Like, I did this because I love you, nothing else. And Rue gives her a hug and walks out, basically on the statement, like, can I even call that my first love? I was in addiction this entire time. But she can't deny. And I thought that was interesting because ultimately, and we'll talk about it when we get to Rue, but ultimately Rue apologizes or extends forgiveness to Elliot, but doesn't extend that same forgiveness to Jules. I don't think Jules needs to ask for forgiveness. And maybe Rue will get that in time. She just acts like she's so devastated. But Rue, you didn't really give anything in that relationship except your addiction. Like I said earlier, we already talked about Cal Jacobs, Eric Dane. It was so weird in season 2 to see the confrontation between Cal and Nate, or excuse me, Cal and Fesco, because we know in real life they're both gone now. Um, and that was just a lot. I think that was a lot to take in just emotionally when you can kind of connect the actors to the people. But Cal was already in the midst of having an orgy. He done pissed in his family home's floor, told his wife that he was gay and that he'll screw anybody he want to, women, men, trans, anybody he want to. He will throw that dingling Nate's fed up by the end of season 2, and he goes to where the dad is staying in the, I think it's the company warehouse, and he goes in and sees that his dad is ready for all of the debauchery, and Nate just starts running his mouth talking, shows the thumb drive, and the police are outside the next minute, and Cal is going to the Pinta. What I thought was interesting is that earlier in the season, Nate talks about, I'm not a fool though, because we're to believe that Nate is this evil genius the entire season. And I really try to understand it. Through season 1 and season 2, we're supposed to think that he's just so smart, right? But he's got this angry side. And all I can think about when I see Nate is damn Steven from Tell Me Lies. I'm so sorry. I don't know. It's just, and not because they look the same, because they're just the same level of treacherous almost. Anyway, um, I was so surprised at that kind of confrontation at the end because he said, I need to worry about the business. The family needs the name. What is it going to mean for me to be the son of a PDF? What is that? What are the implications going to be like for my life and the family's life? And so I was kind of surprised he took that route, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. Cal was doing everything and anything with anybody and everybody. So I don't know what that results in. And also, was the copy of the DVD the only copy of Jules, or is that on the thumb drive as well? Drop it in the comments. Let me know, y'all. Now we get over to Fezco, baby. Season two's opening episode to me was the best episode. I don't know, between that and the finale, but I had such a good time with Grandma over there, played by Catherine Narducci. You know Catherine Narducci if you were over there in the Godfather of Harlem streets. She played she played Vincent D'Onofrio's character's wife over there, entertaining as hell. But that first episode, her going into the strip club, popping that man, taking her baby and saying, listen, he's not a kid, he's my business partner. And we really got this full backstory of Fez. And it's so interesting how a lot of times when you watch shows, they can be so prophetic and you just wonder like who is in the writer's room. Like it was so special that we got a whole episode devoted to Fez in season 2. Again, nobody knowing what was going to happen to Angus Cloud in real life, but I love that we got to have this moment immortalized on film. And so now that we're there with Grandma, we find out the story that his mom was a great woman. He shot apparently the dad or grandpa to get her baby, and she raised Fez, right? And Fez learned the game as a child and did all of those things. And then we find out how he got his scar and how he kind of has some delays because she was beating a man to death and Fez tried to interrupt and she ended up popping him, right? We then find out that one of the crackheads leave a baby, and that's who Ashtray later turns out to be, who is the real gangster. Grandma and Ashtray, honey, those are the gangsters. But basically, ever since Ashtray came into their life, Fez was his daddy and big brother. He gave that baby baths. He was there. Even when he got hurt, he's like, oh my God, who's going to take care of the baby? Like, I have to make sure he's good. And it just so explains their relationship dynamic. And when we talk about storytelling and, how does the narrative get us from one place to the other, I think that episode 1 of season 2 was a masterclass in storytelling, in my opinion. I loved every single thing about it. And also, we understand why Fez is the man that he is. Even when his grandma is diagnosed, okay, we're going to take care of her. And now I have to step into gear and I have to be the man and I have to figure this out. And so basically, how he kind of perpetuates that in Ashtray, but ultimately doesn't expect the end that they get. Fez even gets a little relationship with Lexi in season 2. And it was so cute because it was so innocent. Like outside of his real world, which is gritty and raw and deathly and terrible and drug infested, this was like a pure spot. Like, and they were to the place where he got roses for. I was like, oh, Faith and Lexi, Jesus. I just wanted him to be there for the play. And when his seat was empty that whole time, I just had the worst feeling ever. And again, it was the worst thing possible. But again, we see his growth as a character. That beat down he gives Nate, chef's kiss, everything I ever needed to see. Everything I never needed to see, baby. Because Nate had to say something slick. And I said, see, where a slick mouth will get you. And you ain't seen Nate ever come back to try to play with him. I thought he was. When he has the blicky at the end, I thought he was going to approach him. But of course, he was going to see Maddie. But I didn't know. But him all dressed up, with Louis Vuitton belt down, ready to go see his girl and make things that make it real, and caught up because of a traitor. But honorable mention to Faye right now. I did not think I was going to like Faye's character when we first meet this heroin addict. I said, get Faye the hell out of here. And then when she has to come live with Fez and he welcomes her with open arms and her ex-boyfriend turns informant, I really thought she was going to play in his face. I really did. But she told too late. I really feel like if she had told earlier, things could have been different. But we know that as we get to the final episode, he's trying to set them up on a recording to, because Ashtray hammered the man in the head all that time ago. The police found the body. And they want to record him. She drops a glass and basically warns Fez, like, don't say anything. In the meantime, we know Ashtray about that action. That's a real gangster. All right. He takes the knife and he's done already the man. The police, we already know, are imminent. They're outdoor because they're recording, waiting to make a bust. Ashtray barricades himself in the bathroom with all of the high artillery, all right, ready to go to war. Fez is trying to get him out. Like, listen, I'm going to take the charge. You just go out there because you need to live to see another day. Like, when I tell you it's a whole shootout in that house, Jesus, that was the most traumatic thing. Ashtray actually ends up shooting Fez in the stomach. And I'm sure I don't know how they're going to bring him. I don't know what's going to happen season 3. I don't know what the fallout is going to be. I think it's just going to be so emotional. I don't even know how they would get through shooting it. I don't know when they shot it. Like, I just have so many questions about how this is going to play out. But ultimately, they take Ashtray out, baby. Ashtray took as many people out as he could on his way out. That was devastating. And I don't even know how Fez's character could have continued, even if, they can't recast him. That's not a possibility. So I don't know, child. Lexi's arc to me was probably one of the best. I loved seeing her come out of her shell and become a prominent character in season 2. I love that she got up there and exposed everything. And like Fez told her, sometimes people need to be offended. Sometimes people need their feelings hurt. Girl, do what you got to do. And I'm glad she had a cheerleader, and the way her mom came out and supported, I just absolutely loved it. Can I talk about Gia for a minute? I want to talk about Rue and her family, but Storm Reed, girl, you acted down, honey. You acted down, especially in season 2, girl. You did your biggest one, and you didn't get, it wasn't like a ton of airtime, but every scene that she was in, I was like, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you love your sister. I believe you mad at her. I believe that you're feeling every second of Rue's addiction. I just think it's beautiful. And honorable mention to the mama, played by Nika King. Listen, mama was momming in season 2. Because what I got to do? She was momming in every way except for flushing them drugs. Because, girl, you knew that's a suitcase of drugs. How you think Rue gonna pay for that? Listen, these are questions that need answers. But Rue is on a bender. And again, season 1 kind of managed, but not so much. Season 2, Rue was annoying as hell. Never anywhere that she needed to be, just out of control, spiraling. When she got that suitcase of dope from Lori, I said, oh, Lori's setting you up, sister. She wants to sell you on the black market. There is no way she gave you a suitcase. At first, talk about a $65,000 suitcase. Ho, is you cool? Rue will be gone long before that you ever get that money back. And the threat that she makes, but Rue goes on and takes it. Rue goes on this journey. She meets Elliot, her new bestie drug friend, and they're the worst possible combination. Even though they're fun together, it's the worst possible combination for both of them, in my opinion. Of course, Jules is introduced into the mix. So now we kind of have this unofficial throuple thing going on. And we know that ultimately Rue gets exposed. This showed, and addiction is a thing all in its own. I think season 2 showed a really grounded representation of what addiction looks like in like a lot of different areas. But that blow up that we get at the house with the family, and she's cussing everybody out and going off on Jules and going off on Ellie and going off on her mama and her sister, and then immediately apologizing, and then just Oh, it was so activating. If you've known anybody who struggled with addiction in your life, then you felt every single inch of that. I think Zendaya acts out Rue beautifully. I think it's an impeccable depiction because I can't stand Rue's ass, but that's addiction, right? And I love how throughout the show, at any point, we don't even know who Rue is. Rue has been in active addiction 90% of the show, and that Rue isn't the real Rue, right? We get glimpses and peaks, but I love how the show illustrates what addiction does and how it changes somebody and the way that we experience them, right? Yeah. But I think those are all like the main characters that I really want to talk about. I am excited for season 3. I will be there with bells on. We might do watch parties in the Discord. I don't know, but I'll be there. Okay. Be there or be square. Drop it in the comments. Do you have any predictions, any expectations for the new season of Euphoria? Let me know. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hype the video, hit the notification so you don't miss a thing. I will be covering Euphoria weekly. All right. So be here, be there, be square. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.